You might be wondering why, in a video about Riverdale, are you playing a song? A very famous song from, I think, the 80s or 70s. Why are you playing this song? Well, I didn't know. I didn't know, as I would assume that many of you didn't know either, that this band called the Archies, actually the players in the band are Veronica, Betty, Jughead, I think so, and Archie Andrews himself, our Riverdale favorite characters. Apparently, Archie Andrews has been the biggest character in the USA for almost a decade. Obviously not the biggest character, but one of the biggest characters in the USA for a decade, and no, I'm not kidding. There is a thing called Archie Comics. So I kind of knew that Riverdale is based on comics, but I didn't know that Archie Comics dates back to the 30s. They were on par by sales, when it comes to sales, when it comes to merchandising and all of this, with freaking Superman. Archie Andrews was on the same level as Superman. So Riverdale, what happened? How did you become like how did Riverdale become this insane joke that it has become? But its origins are so noble and so cool and epic. So on YouTube you have this show that I actually saw 2-3 episodes of that I really enjoyed, even though I'm not, I guess, the targeted audience. The show is called, I think, Archie's Weird Adventures or something, and it's just like you know, the characters of Riverdale having adventures. I mean, you have Pop's chocolate shop, you have Jughead eating his burgers, you have Veronica and Betty fighting over Archie. I mean, I don't know, you have Reggie, you have, I think Kevin is also in it, but it's so different and it's so fun and it's so well executed and the dialogue, it's so good. And then you have this TV show, this animation, you have the epic Archie comics that were on the same level by when it comes to sales with Superman, and then you have Riverdale. How did you become this? Like, how did you go from this to this? You know, when season 6 ended like a week ago, I enjoyed season 6. It was entertaining. It had entertainment value. I was laughing, I was rolling my eyes, you know, but I was enjoying it in general. And I think if this was what the show was, you know, all the magical stuff right from the beginning, then it would have worked. But Riverdale is anything but cohesive, anything but logical, anything but a good show. And that is very sad. You know, I was supposed to make a good video about a good Riverdale. I was supposed to come on here and talk about how good season 6 was. Even though it was bad, it was still good because it had entertainment value, and how I'm kind of excited about season 7. But now, after learning about the history of Riverdale, the history of Archie Andrews and how beloved he is as a character, I cannot do that. I mean, I will do that partly, but also, what the hell happened? Like, what did go wrong? I don't understand. How did these epic legacy characters become these whiny teenagers and then messy adults, and then it's just so bad, and you have all these crazy things happening, and apparently even in the comics Hiram was hunting Archie, but But it's different. It's also different. Like the whole Archie Hiram Riverdale CW thing was crazy. While in the comics, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. He doesn't like Archie for his daughter, but he's just like, I have to kill Archie. It's on a whole different level. What happened with Riverdale? But let's talk about season 6, I guess. Let's talk about the Sabrina episode, which I think. So for me, the only reason why I watched season 6 was Sabrina. Don't get me wrong, I thought that Riverdale was officially dead. I really, this, like, season 5 was this less straw for me, but then they were like, well, Sabrina is back. And I was like, oh shit, I really like Sabrina and I want to see this crossover. So I gave it a chance, and it was actually really fun. So Sabrina, for the first time Sabrina appeared was in the Rivervale 6 episode event. So Rivervale was, I actually think it was really cool. Archie was out of the picture, which was kind of weird, but it worked. Cheryl was and still is a witch. Oh gosh. This is so genuine. Betty in her trash bag killer story. Wait, I'm talking about Rivervale. What happened in Rivervale? You have the La Llorona, you have so many things that happened in Riverdale that didn't make sense, but every story was its own thing, and it was well made. It was kind of well executed. The dialogue was still kind of sucked, but in general, for what it was, I think it's good. And how I really enjoyed every episode being narrated by Jughead, because he is the narrator. He has always been the narrator, and it was a good role for him. I really enjoyed that, that suspenseful thing, that mystery vibe. It was really good. I think Rivervale was really fun. But then we came back to the real Riverdale, and you got a new villain called Percival Pickens that I cannot stand. Like, couldn't you find a more pretentious person with a more pretentious accent than Percival Pickens? I what? Like, at the beginning, I thought he's like street level magician, wizard, and then he was full blown summoning biblical events, and the people in this show, like every character, they don't have a max. Like, they can do whatever the plot wants them to do, and it doesn't make sense. Like, nothing makes sense. There are no rules to Riverdale. But I guess, I mean, you do have a parallel universe that doesn't make sense as well. I don't know, like, nothing makes sense. And the Percival, so Percival brought a darker side Riverdale. I mean, in the last few episodes, he literally took the heads of Betty's mom, of Archie's uncle, and of Kevin's dad, and he just sent them the bodies without their heads. So I don't know, Riverdale just goes to 100 in like a second. And I mean, nothing makes sense, because Riverdale did not start as this very dark, show. It was dark, but it was also kind of silly, but then it was like full comedy, and then it was like, I don't know, like Riverdale went for so many phases, and now all of these phases just came together in this season. And as I said, I did kind of enjoy it, because it was kind of fun. But also, every time I watched Lily Reinhardt act, she was just like, every time she would have to deliver a line, whatever it is, she would just deliver it in such a dead inside way that, I mean, I get you, girl, like, you don't want to be in this. And then it all came to an end with the last episode, where Cheryl So Cheryl has the power of the phoenix, and the actors deliver these lines with such an ease. Like, Cheryl now has the power of the phoenix, as if it's like the most normal thing ever, and she can now resurrect people. And then she just started flying like Wanda Maximoff, like the Scarlet Witch in WandaVision. I mean, they did rip off WandaVision. That's like no doubt about that. But I just don't understand what happened. I'm jumping like through all of the things that I wanted to say because, I start talking about Percival and then it's like what? Like, don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it. It was fun, but also what the hell? So Sabrina, yeah, you have the Sabrina episode that I made one of my friends watch, and here I'm gonna maybe put some of her voice messages where she's like, "Who's Percival Pickens? Why is Nick Scratch in Jughead's body? What the hell is going on?" And I don't know, like it's I don't even know. Like every time she asks me what's a ghost train or what's that or what is this, and I'm like, I don't know, girl. Like I'm actually watching this show and I don't know, and she hasn't watched it for like a few seasons, I think. Not sure anymore. But like I would have to know what's happening, but I don't know because like every scene, like even if I don't know, I go on my phones. If I go on my phone for 2 seconds and then I miss 2 seconds of the show and I don't know what's happening. Like I have to pay so much. I have to pay very good attention to the show to actually understand what's happening. And even if I pay attention, I don't understand. I'm like, Betty is now the whore of Babylon. Like what? Like who came up with this? And I guess the only detailed thing I want to talk about is again what the what the hell are you doing with Kevin and Reggie? Like Kevin and Reggie are such bad characters. I cannot describe it, and it's such a shame because Kevin he is a sweetheart and he deserves all the happiness and luck in the world, but him and Reggie, they were like the secretaries or something, the assistants to Percival, to the bad guy. And I'm like, why? Like this, what are you doing? And then you have Alice and also Archie's uncle and the policeman, Kevin's father, also be on Percival's side, and it's all like they're just accessories. These like most characters don't have any purpose in this show. The only purpose the side characters have is just to fill up the scenes. They don't have any purpose, and that is so stupid because Kevin and Reggie are OGs. And I don't understand why the writers are always giving them the worst plot lines, or they just do very stupid things with them, or they just cast them aside or make them super stupid. Like Kevin and Reggie are like the stupidest characters in whole of Riverdale, and that is insane. I guess the only good thing, apart from the entertainment value of season 6, because everything is so insane, is Veronica's character development. Veronica actually grew for once, and I really enjoyed her. I think that she was by far my favorite character in all of this because she was the one to behave like a grown-up, the one with the pose, the one with everything. Like this girl, I was like, yeah, like go, like do it. Like she's all alone by herself. She doesn't have Archie, she doesn't have Reggie, she doesn't have her mom, her dad, she doesn't have anyone. So Veronica, because everyone got powers, by the way, and Veronica was like poison ivy. Like she would, I don't know, is that what poison ivy would do? Like if she kisses you, like you die. Like she can poison you just by staring at you. It's crazy. But she really grew. Like she was so done with all of the bullshit, and she was just like, I'm gonna be myself. I don't care about the boys. I don't care about anything. I'm just gonna be me. Concentrate on myself. And I really like that. I mean, you have Betty and Archie. They're literally the same characters. I'm just so tired of Betty. Like, what is your purpose, girl? I don't know. She's just like there and it's like slow and like And then you have Archie, who is like the same. I liked Archie at the beginning of the season because, he was really trying to make a change, and he was his own person, and he was doing all those brave and courageous things. But now in the last few episodes, they really didn't do Archie justice. I don't know. And then who else? Jughead. Actually, I'm happy for Jughead and Tabitha. I really like that they paired them together. I think they come together very well. And yeah, actually, Jughead is he's a good. They did him well, I guess. In this thing, he was the narrator. He was, I guess, the key to everything. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what happened. I'm like, what? I don't remember. But yeah, so now in season 7, we're gonna get them back in the 50s, and you have them back in high school. And I don't know, this might work. I've always said Riverdale can be very good. The characters are cast very well compared to their comic book characters. They look the same. They're very good. I think every character on its own is a very well written character, and the basics are there. The ground for a good story is there, but they're just not doing it. Like six seasons in, and we're still like, we don't know what we're doing. That's great. But as I said, so season 7, they are back in the past, back in high school. Only Jughead knows what's going on, and I don't know. It kind of looks promising, but also what the hell? And what with the Sabrina retcon? So Nick's crush died, not Sabrina. Why did they retcon that? I don't understand. I guess they couldn't fit her in any other way. But as I said, as I showed you, they were epic. They had legacy, and CW ruined that. Do let me know what you think of Riverdale, and were you aware of the huge legacy they have? Do let me know down below, and I will see you in the next video. And as always, may the first be